Welcome to Locally Sourced. I'm Armanda Famiglietti. Everybody loves a good podcast, and tonight we're talking about podcasts made by kids in the Youth Podcast Club. Welcome, Brandon Lillard and Ryan Maglio.
Thank you for having us.
So, Brandon, I'll start with you. You look a little bigger than your average kid. Can you tell me what your role is with the Youth Podcast Club?
Yep. So, the Youth Podcast Club is a program that through the support of CoveCare Center was able to put together, and it's a program where we are teaching the youth about podcasting, and then also teach them how to create their own podcast, and then put that podcast out into the world, and essentially create their own brand and their own kind of content out in the world.
And how does that fit in with the mission of CoveCare Center?
So it fits in because through our community-based program for the youth, we are providing sort of like a mentoring program as well. It's a social group. It's a place for kids to come on a Saturday and just kind of hang out and just kind of talk about whatever they want to talk about with their other friends. Instead of doing it, let's say, over an Xbox or a PlayStation, they're actually doing it in person in an environment where they're actually being productive as well, too.
Wow. So just in case there's anyone out there who doesn't know what a podcast is, can you just sort of explain that to us?
Yeah, so a podcast, the simplest way I would explain it is, video on demand? Like with TV show, VOD. It's audio on demand. A radio show, an audio book can be considered. It's pretty much it's audio content that you as a consumer can listen to whenever, wherever you want to at your own leisure. It's part radio, it's part talk show, and it's part a la carte where you can get it whenever you want to.
Okay. So most people, I know I listen to podcasts on my phone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So is that the usual place people listen to podcasts?
That would be the main the main place to get it from. It's just so much easier. It's right there. Everyone has their phone with them, so that's content that can go with you wherever you go.
Right, in the car or when you're doing the dishes. That's kind of when I do it. So Ryan, tell me a little bit about how you got started in what's it called, the Youth Podcast?
Yes.
Youth Podcasts. And what's your role?
So basically we were talking and he said, how about you want to join a podcast with a big group of kids and have just fun. We have some snack time and all that with it. So I just thought it was a good idea. I'd have a good time with it too. So
it's mainly for fun.
Yeah. It's having fun with people how you haven't met before. Getting to know them and then becoming friends.
So, how many kids are in the club?
About 15 now?
Yeah, since we had some new kids
15.
come.
When did you start?
Back in May.
Yeah.
And you already have 15 kids?
Yeah, we started the first group in May. Ryan was in the first group. We had, I want to say 8 kids the first group.
Some kids left.
Yeah, some kids left. Some kids left and then came back. And then we started our second session this past September, and that's where the rest of our group filled up. So we've been running with 2 different groups now.
Wow, 2?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about these 2 groups.
So Ryan's group, who they've dubbed themselves the Million Volt League, so you can find them out.
Million Volt
Yes.
League?
Yes.
That sounds a little scary. Million Volt League?
No, they're Kids with Power, and that's
Kids with Power.
Yep. Kids with Power.
Great, I like the name now.
Kids with Power, and they now have a platform to speak their truths and put their ideas out into the world.
Okay, so that answers my question, which was how did you get the name the Million Volt League? That was good. So what do you enjoy most about being in this club?
To go on talk what you want to talk with a whole group of kids that you can do what they have ideas with. Someone has an idea, but somebody else has an idea. You can compromise and have a good idea to talk about. I know me and my friends talk about different TV shows, movies. We also have stuff like that, Brandon and his he picks out them and all that.
So do you have a script? Do you write a script
No.
first?
No,
so it's
we never.
Yeah. It's kind of like this, just a conversation with friends, and who knows what's going to come up.
We talk about way crazy stuff.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Should I ask a question about that? So give me an example of some way crazy stuff that you talk about.
So we were waiting for him to come in the room to like start the podcast, like start the.
So you
video.
generally arrive late?
No, like it was like one time, and I was just like, everybody was like, I was like, what do we want to talk about? And everybody's like, I don't know, about socks. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, socks, and how about like shoes and all that. Forgot the last part, but they're mostly talking about socks. I'm like, wait, socks?
You guys spoke
Really?
for like 20 minutes about
Yeah,
socks.
I'm like, because in the first part, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, well, I don't think socks get enough attention personally.
They don't.
So
They
I think an hour. I think we could do an hour on socks.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, they fall down, right? Is that annoying or what? Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. You just touched on a nerve.
Yeah.
One of the topics that Ryan and another member of the group came up with, which was a really interesting idea. I don't know if you can tell from his shirt, but Ryan is a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So Ryan and, like I said, another member of the group sat down with a local therapist, and they talked about Star Wars characters, and they talked about those characters and the potential mental health diagnosis that those characters might suffer from.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
So one of
fun.
the examples that they talked about, which was it was just interesting to hear him and this other member talk, just because the level of knowledge that they have for Star Wars is just crazy. But they took the character of Darth Vader, and they talked about his history from beginning up until end, and they really sat down and discussed it. And then the therapist came in and pretty much, from taking all information, was able to explain to them how and why this character suffers from PTSD, and how that PTSD led into all of his kind of actions throughout the latter half of the movies and things like that. So trying to give them different ways to also kind of look at movies to kind of, different perspectives.
Okay. Okay, but don't lose those sock conversations. I'm in you. I'm with you on the socks. So actually, Brandon, tell me a little bit about CoveCare and how the podcast group fits with CoveCare, and generally what CoveCare does, because it's such an important part of our community.
Yeah, so at CoveCare, our mission is to be that contact for families who need help, whether it be with mental health, with
and not
substance
just
abuse,
families, individuals.
Individuals as well too. In my program, I work predominantly with families and with young adults. So a lot of my role is to what I like to say is to kind of help build that village around the family, so that to make sure that these families are connected, they know about what's available to them. Where this program fits into is that some of these kids are kids that I work with in my program, and we identified a need that there really wasn't much else out there extracurricular-wise for youth to get involved with. And seeing how we're in the future now, and kids are all about technology.
We're in the future?
Yeah, I have to remind myself sometimes.
I must be old then. Oh no!
But this kind of gives them an opportunity to express themselves, to put them in different situations that they normally wouldn't be in order to where they can feel comfortable, but also kind of learn that it's okay to fail. With the podcast, sometimes they come in, they don't really have ideas, or they say they don't have ideas, and sometimes they just sit down and start talking, and next thing you know, we have like an hour and 20 minutes of this hilarious conversation off of nothing, and I know for me personally, like it's helped me kind of like open up and be able to feel more comfortable in different situations. And I see with these guys how, even with someone like Ryan, who, I was joking before, he's kind of like the diva of the group, but in a completely good way. I can see that. But Ryan is someone who I've really seen kind of take to this, and really, he has stepped into a role as a leader amongst, predominantly these kids were all strangers when they first met, and now they've actually created this thing together that they can now go and share with the world.
Ryan's one of the younger ones, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what's the age range?
It's from Ryan, who's 12, up into the oldest kid that we have is 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so does Ryan talk with 17-year-olds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So tell me, what does it take to produce a podcast? You know, I gave you guys sort of a tour of the studio, what it takes to produce a television show. What does it take to produce a podcast? Similar?
Just a laptop and sound.
Just a laptop.
Well, and not even that.
Yeah.
Not even that.
I mean, if your tablet, you can use to create your own podcast. Your cell phone. That's like the cool thing about this is that and we tell these guys all the time, like the setup that we have at our studio is just really for show. It's really just to kind of like have them experience it.
Well, actually, wait, excuse me, let me interrupt you. We have a picture of some studio shots, so let's look at your studio and keep talking. And okay, so I recognize one of the people in that picture.
That's Matthew. He's actually the one who actually came up with the name of Million Volt League.
Okay.
It was his baby that he came up with. But essentially, to do this, to create your own podcast, you could just have a cell phone and you just have the little voice recorder right on your phone. And then from there, what you do with it is up to you. But with we've actually created like an atmosphere where these guys are able to collaborate and they're able to kind of come up with ideas, bounce them off of each other. Like I said, they came up with their name. They created a logo. They're working on season 2, which is going to have a whole new theme. So like, there's a lot of things that these guys have come up with that we weren't even thinking about.
So in that last shot, there were 3 people or 4 people.
Yeah.
One of them was you.
Yes. So
who are the other?
The young woman in the picture, her name is Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. She's also works at CoveCare Center. Then we also had that's Adam, who's wearing this striped shirt. Okay. Him and Ryan are probably the go-tos when it comes to Star Wars in Putnam County. I challenge anybody out there.
Wait a minute, Ryan. Do you accept that?
Yeah.
These two, I will challenge anyone in Putnam County to test their knowledge against these 2 guys. Wow. They are that good.
I watched every single one.
Yeah. And then the other young man was Skylar.
Oh, okay. Well, good, because I know that those are at least 3 people who are going to watch this show. So I want to make sure that they get on there. Okay, so it sounds like it's fairly easy, but you actually record the podcast at CoveCare Center.
Yeah.
How many times a week, a month?
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday,
yeah.
Okay.
And these guys, and we meet fairly early, and I'm impressed with these guys because they come in at like 9 o'clock, 9:30 on a Saturday. We actually just had like a production meeting I was trying to convince them to maybe let's pick a different day later. And they were all like, no, we like coming in early. And I'm just like, you guys are out of your minds. But if this is what you guys want, then this is what we got to do.
I think I understand. What you're saying, Brandon, is that you like to sleep in on Saturdays. You deeply resent this. Okay, so if I want to listen to your podcast, where would I go to listen to it?
Everywhere you can find a podcast. Yeah. So you got Apple Podcasts. Yeah. We'll be on SoundCloud.
You're on iTunes.
Yep. So that's how you know we're big time. Wow. So anywhere you can find a podcast, you'll be able to find it. And it's
what's it called? Youth Podcast Club?
Well, no, their podcast is the Million Volt League podcast.
Yeah. Million Volt League podcast. Okay.
That's their creation that they created through Youth Podcast Club, and that's what we're looking to do with this program is. We have the resources, and what we're doing is we're showing young adults how to do this, and then from there they then go and create what it is that they want to create, and we're there to help them complete that.
Okay. So that's one podcast. Is another one?
Yep. We have currently from the new group of kids that started. There's some podcasts that they have in production. We have 2. We have some kids who are just doing individual podcasts. They're not doing a group like Ryan and his team. Then we have some new kids who are also going to be creating their own shows.
Wow, you're rolling.
But yeah, they're the first.
That is terrific. Yeah. Okay. Right. So I'm sorry to say I didn't have a chance to listen to the podcast before the show. I should have done that. But I will definitely go on iTunes or SoundCloud.
Well, that's good because the first episode is going to be dropping January of 2019.
Oh, so you even haven't broadcast yet?
No, we're getting ready. We're doing this the right way. We're promoting.
So you have heard
exactly.
it.
So you're getting the first scoop on this.
Okay, and the viewers.
Yes, exactly.
And the viewers. Okay, so Ryan, tell me what else you do. I understand you have interests other than podcasting and Star Wars. Is that possible? Do you have other interests? What are they?
I play video games a lot.
What video game?
The same one that everybody plays.
Well, what's that?
Fortnite, the most popular one.
Fortnite?
Yeah, and some other games too. Mostly, with that, I also do some I play catch with my dad and my brother. Then I also go over to my friend's house and play football and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And baseball.
Yeah,
and football.
Yeah. I love those two sports, the football and baseball. Sadly, I had to quit. But yeah, I still do it. Play catch with though, with everybody.
Yeah. Why did you have to quit?
My arm.
Oh no, you already have an injury?
Yeah, no, it's been an injury for a while. I can't throw.
Oh.
We're going to get him back.
But luckily, you don't need your arm a lot for the podcast,
no.
right? It's not, you have to do that. That's good. You picked the right thing to do. So what's the difference between podcasting and team sports?
Well, the big difference is you have to go closer with the people that you're working with,
in podcasting.
Yeah, you have to get instead of a team where you have to say, hey, how are you? Want to do this and all that. You have to bond more on podcasts with your friends and all that. You have to say, oh, you want to do that idea. You have to create more ideas and more friendships than a football team where you're just doing anything. You have adults with you, but that's not really anything with the podcast.
All right. So there's not a lot of conversation in football. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's not any really. Mostly, yeah.
And we are not knocking football. Just want to make that clear. Not saying that at all.
But it's just a difference.
Yeah.
Football, not a lot of conversation. Podcasting, a lot of
you have to,
conversation, interaction, getting to know each other better, I guess, because you know how each other feels about socks or Star Wars or things of that nature. So, Brendan, why do you like podcasting? I mean, you are a podcaster,
yes,
right?
I'm also a podcaster as well. Shout out to Steady Geekin' and Not Up for Debate.
Ho! What was that? Shout out to who?
My two shows, Steady Geekin'. And Not Up for Debate. Those are the two podcasts that I host.
Okay, Not Up for Debate. So that's kind of an opinion show where no one
there
can
are no
say
facts at all. There are no facts at all. It is just all opinion. And
it's yours, and that's that.
Yeah, that's
right?
all. But we're open to open ideas. And then Steady Geekin' is a show where we talk. It's more in tune with what these guys are doing. Where we really just kind of we're bigger versions of them on Steady Geekin'. We're just a bunch of adult kids talking about socks and Star Wars at times. Yeah.
Okay. So, why do you like it? Do you have guests?
Yeah, we do.
It's not just you talking.
No. I could never just do it by myself.
Okay.
I would need to be with other people. But I do it because, like I said earlier, for me it's been a very therapeutic. It gives me the opportunity, to get to hang out with my friends who I don't really get to do that too much because of working and having a family and things like that. But it allows us to, like Ryan was saying, is to talk about different things and ideas and bounce them off and really just kind of use it. I use it personally as an outlet. Just, I can't go home and talk to my wife about socks or Star Wars. She just doesn't care. So through podcasting, I found a way to do that, and it just happens to be that other people, for whatever reason, like to listen to it too. So that's kind of been the rewarding part, that I know I'm not completely out of my mind and the things that I like. So
you gave me a little piece, or I should say, Jacqueline Stefanak, who I have to give a big thanks to, because she helped so much with putting the show together, who works at CoveCare. But she gave me a little sort of a brochure about podcasting, and I think it said that I could tune in on the CoveCare website. Is that true too?
Yep. So the shows will also be broadcasted on the CoveCare website as well too. So you'll be able to get it there as well as any other podcast.
Are your shows there too?
My shows are not there yet. I don't know, maybe in the future, see where the Million Vote League takes them. And
okay. And tell me again when people can start listeling to the podcast.
We'll be dropping January 2019.
Dropping? What is that? What is that?
Releasing
that term?
the first. Sorry, being hip.
I think you're being. I don't know if you're being hip or a geek.
I see you're right. We'll be releasing the first episode sometime in January of 2019.
Okay, and how will we know about that? Will it be on the CoveCare website?
It'll be on CoveCare website. January, these guys, their Instagram page will be going live, so they'll be on social media as well too. We'll be out there full fledged.
I can't wait. It's going to be really good. And then, how many podcasts a month do you expect to have?
As long as see, that's the cool thing about this is now that they're at this point where they're creating these shows, it's really now it's kind of accountability on them. So we created a system that if they want to record, they have to schedule it with us, and then they come in, we meet them, and they do what they have to do.
So you have a lot of responsibility. And you just have to try to wake up and get there on time.
Yeah,
Is that how it works?
If not, they'll call me and be like, "Where are you?"
Where are you, Brandon? So that's a lot of fun. So tell me more about your background, because you've had a lot of time with kids, right? Yeah. What is your role at CoveCare?
So at CoveCare, I'm the Coordinated Children's Service Initiative team leader, and what my role is I essentially help coordinate services for families. I also do a bit of case management. Ryan is one of the young adults that I work with as well too. I've been working with children, youth for I've been on this planet a long time. At least the last, don't repeat this. At least the last 19 years, I think.
Your secret is safe with us. You're just on television.
And honestly, it's just an awesome experience. When I first met Ryan, when I first started here, to see the growth that he's had, and just the fact that he's here right now is, it's things like that makes it worth it, to see that that these kids are actually they have all the potential in the world. They just kind of need just a little push. And I think because sometimes they can be very immature, I think it works in my favor.
You're immature.
Yeah,
really?
I can be immature.
No.
Do you agree? Yeah, I can be. Yeah. But no, I just, I think it's just, working with these guys, it just reminds me of how awesome the world is, with everything that's going on. You hear all the craziness that's happening in this country, and then you come and you work with these guys, and it's just really easy to just kind of not focus on all that stuff. I know that's sounds cheesy and
not
corny,
get
but
too worried about the future.
Yeah. I look at these guys and it's just we're going to be okay, I think, so that kind of helps me sleep at night sometimes. So.
Well, I have to say, you are one of the most poised guests that I've had, Ryan, and you laugh at my jokes, which is really important to me. So, thank you, because I've had adults sitting here who are, they don't want to talk and they don't want to be seen, and they have nothing to say.
Like I said, he's the diva of the group.
Okay. So let's get back to CoveCare again a little bit, because I want to make sure people understand that this is a CoveCare project. You work at CoveCare.
Yes.
And CoveCare, in the future, we said we were in the future, but even in the more future, in the spring, we have to get through winter, get into spring. There's something big happening in CoveCare.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what's happening and when is it and where is it?
Yes, it'll be May of 2019. The annual CoveCare Center Spelling Bee. It's a pretty awesome event. I will have to say, last time I was here, I got a little ahead of myself.
You had a throwdown.
And I did, and I wasn't able to step up to the challenge, so I will refrain from trash talking today. But
you learned your lesson.
Yes. It's an awesome event. It's actually pretty intense. People come in dressed up. There's it's all about team spirit, and the competition is real.
Is it going to be at the Star Center again?
Yes. And so there'll be more information dropping about that. But yeah, it's definitely a great time for a great cause, and be ready to have your spelling skills
I tell you,
tested.
so last year we had a locally sourced team. Did you know that we were there?
Yeah, I think you told us before. Yep.
And we did not win. We didn't win. We made it to the 11th round. How many rounds are there? My God, it's like. But we made it to the 11th round, and we failed. We failed on cummerbund.
Cummerbund.
Can you believe it? Spell cummerbund.
Cummerbund?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't. It's really hard. I would be like this, what?
Yeah, cummerbund. So anyways, but the team that won, they spelled some crazy word I never even heard of. So once you get into the later, 11, 12 levels, a lot of people drop out, and it becomes serious.
So, but now you have a goal for this year.
Cummerbund, I'm prepared.
Be ready.
I couldn't believe we lost on that. But anyways, it was really, really fun, and there's food.
Yes, there's always food. There will always be food at CoveCare Center events. I will always say, and it's always good food.
No eating, no meeting, as they say.
They believe in food at CoveCare Center.
That's good. Well, it was good food. It was a really fun time. I'm going to practice my spelling, and maybe I'll make it to the 12th round
and
next
then hopefully
time.
That'll be the final round.
If you do win, you get a huge trophy.
Yep.
So.
And you get bragging rights.
And bragging rights. Okay. All right. So I just want to thank you guys for coming, because this has been a great show. And I'm definitely going to tune in January.
Yep.
And the name of the podcast is
Million Volt Lead.
Million
Podcast.
Volt.
MVL for short.
So aren't you afraid that people are going to see that and say, "Oh, it's about electricity"? Oh, I love electricity.
Well, hopefully we'll get in with the electricity, and they'll stay for the last.
All right, and then you find out it's about socks. I don't know if that's good or bad. But anyways, thank you so much, Ryan Maglio and Brandon Lillard. That was for your mom. And to the crew who come out, especially Ginny Munoz and the guys in the control room, and to the people who watch. Thank you. So now what happens is